Good morning and welcome to Unity of Orange County. We always like to begin our service with our mission and our vision statement. Our vision statement is centered in divine love. We joyfully co-create a world that works for all. And our mission is to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. And so I would like to thank those people that are making today's service possible. We have Bill on piano and Tom on audio, and Christopher and John on video, and Reverend Annie is our prayer platform person today. And join us today at 11 o'clock for our Zoom fellowship meeting. And then next week, on the 14th, we are going to be having a real fellowship outside. We're probably going to do it at a park. As soon as I get the details, I'll let you know, but you can come to the church first, and we'll have things outside telling you where we're going to have it. Bring your own chair, your own food, but this will give us an opportunity to actually see our friends that we maybe haven't seen in a while. And then on Saturday, June 13th at noon, we're going to be putting together our blessing bags for the homeless. So the last chance to bring in stuff for our blessing bags is Monday between 10 and 1 or Tuesday between 10 and 2. And anybody who would like to come and help put the bags together, please remember to wear a mask and gloves. Also, our class, How to Pray Without Speaking to God, it continues on Wednesday at 6:30. And we have a new class beginning Tuesday, June 16th at 6 p.m., which will be the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. The only book you need is a Bible. And we still wanted to remind you that if you go buy things on Amazon, if you go to Amazon Smile, then Unity and pick Unity of Orange County is where you want your money donated. We get a percentage of anything that you give. And if you appreciate our videos, we would love for you to donate. You can do it by texting us at 77977 and in the message put Unity of OC Give. And now I would like to welcome Reverend Annie for the daily word and meditation.
The daily word for Sunday, June 7th, 2020 is joy. Joy is my constant companion. I discover reasons to feel joyful every day, even in the most challenging circumstances. I began by centering my awareness on the Christ, the divine presence within. I feel love and peace lift my heart, and possibilities for good fills my thoughts. I am joyous. I may experience joy as exuberance, delight, and wonder. Joy may also come quietly as the peaceful assurance of God's presence wherever I am, whatever I'm doing. My awareness of joy brings a glow to even the most ordinary day. As I engage wholeheartedly in all that is mine to do today, I share my joy with everyone through kind words, a sunny smile, a warm welcome to everyone I meet. I radiate joy and bless the world with my positivity, happiness, and bliss. And the scripture is from the book of Psalms 118:24. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And as we move into this time of contemplation and meditation, just become aware of where you are, this moment in time, this point in space. And I invite you to open your heart and contemplate these words written by philosopher Lao Tzu. After the reading, there will be a moment of contemplation. Lao Tzu writes, "If there's to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there's to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there's to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there's to be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. And let us go into the silence.
Good morning again. Today we're going to continue our series on the 12 powers. So Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, studied a lot of different religions, and he studied the teachings of Jesus Christ and the life of Jesus Christ. And what he realized was that Jesus picked the 12 disciples based on a quality, a spiritual quality that each one had. And he called these the 12 powers. Now, each one of these powers is within all of us. But these powers, although they're spiritual powers, can be used in a positive way as well as a negative way. So the power we're going to talk about today is a perfect example of that, and that is the power of imagination. So everything that we see in our world today, except of the natural world, first was imagined in someone's mind. The chairs you sit in, the tables that you eat at, the dishes, the car you drive, the house you live in, the clothes you wear, everything was first imagined by someone. And so imagination is this powerful tool, and it can be used for good, and it could be used for not good. Just like we can imagine some wonderful things and put those things into action, there are many people throughout history who have imagined some terrible things and put those things into action. So today we're going to look at this imagination. So imagination has to be combined with thinking. Because first we imagine something, and if we don't use our thinking with that imagination can take us off into areas that are completely devoid of any kind of truth or fact. So when I was in Miami, there was a writer I loved who used to write in the Miami Herald, and then he wrote a lot of books, and his name was Dave Barry. And he wrote this wonderful story, which is a great example of imagination run amok. So it's called The Story of Roger and Elaine, a love story. So let's say a guy named Roger is attracted to a woman named Elaine. He asks her out for a movie. She accepts. They have a pretty good time. A few nights later, he asks her out to dinner, and again they enjoy themselves. They continue to see each other regularly, and after a while, neither one of them is seeing anybody else. And then, one evening, when they're driving home, a thought occurs to Elaine. And without really thinking, she says it out loud. Do you realize that as of tonight, we have been seeing each other for exactly 6 months? And then there is a silence in the car. To Elaine, it seems like a very loud silence. She thinks to herself, Geez, I wonder if it bothers him that I said that. Maybe he's been feeling confused by our relationship. Maybe he thinks I'm trying to push him into some kind of obligation he doesn't want or isn't sure of. And Roger is thinking, gosh, 6 months. And Elaine is thinking, but hey, I'm not so sure I want this kind of relationship, some kind of obligation that he doesn't want or isn't sure of either. Sometimes I wish I had a little more space so I'd have time to think about whether I really wanted us to keep going this way. We are moving steadily forward. I mean, where are we going? Are we just going to keep seeing each other at this level of intimacy? Are we headed toward marriage, toward children, toward a lifetime together? Am I ready for this level of commitment? Do I really even know this person? And Roger is thinking, let's see, so that means February, when we started going out, which was right after I had the car at the dealer's, which means, let me check the odometer. Whoa, I am overdue for an oil change. And Elaine is thinking, he's upset. I can see it on his face. Maybe I'm reading this completely wrong. Maybe he wants more from our relationship, more intimacy, more commitment. Maybe he has sensed, even before I sensed it, that I was feeling some reservations. Yes, I bet that's it. That's why he's so reluctant to say anything about his own feelings. He's afraid of being rejected. Roger is thinking, and I'm going to have them look at the transmission again. I don't care what those morons say. It is still not shifting right. And they better not try to blame it on the cold weather this time. What cold weather? It's 87 degrees out. And this thing is shifting like a goddamn garbage truck. And I paid those incompetent thieves $600. And Elaine is thinking, he's angry. And I don't blame him. I'd be angry too. God, I feel so guilty putting him through this. But I can't help the way I feel. I'm just not sure. And Roger is thinking, they'll probably say it's only a 90-day warranty. That's exactly what they're going to say. The scumballs. And Elaine is thinking, maybe I'm too idealistic, waiting for a night to come, riding up on his white horse when I'm sitting right next to a perfectly good person, a person I enjoy being with, a person I truly care about, a person who seems to truly care about me, a person who is in pain because of my self-centered schoolgirl romantic fantasy. And Roger is thinking, warranty? They want a warranty? I'll give them a goddamn warranty. I'll take their warranty and stick it right up there. Roger, Elaine says out loud. What? Says Roger, startled. Please don't torture yourself. Her eyes beginning to brim with tears. Maybe I should have never. Oh God, I feel so. And she breaks down sobbing. Now, Roger is like, what? And Elaine, sobbing, says, I am such a fool. I mean, there's no night. I really know that. It's silly. There's no night and there's no horse. Roger says, there's no horse? And Elaine says, you think I'm a fool, don't you? No, says Roger, glad to finally know the correct answer. It's just that I need some time, Elaine says. There is a 15-second pause while Roger, thinking as fast as he can, tries to come up with a safe response. Finally, he comes up with one he thinks might work. Yes, he says. Elaine, deeply moved, touches his hand. Oh, Roger, do you really feel that way? She says. What way? Roger says. That way about time, says Elaine. Oh, says Roger, yes. Elaine turns to face him and gazes deeply into his eyes, causing him to become nervous about what she might say next, especially if it involves a horse. At last she speaks. "Thank you, Roger," she says. "Thank you," says Roger. Then he takes her home. She lies on her bed, a conflicted, tortured soul, and weeps until dawn, where when Roger gets back to his place, he opens up a bag of Doritos, turns on the TV, and immediately becomes deeply involved in a rerun of a tennis match between two Czechoslovakians he has never heard of. A tiny voice in the far recesses of his mind tells him that something major was going on back there in the car. But he is pretty sure there is no way he would ever understand what. And so he figures it's better he doesn't think about it. This is also Roger's policy regarding world hunger. The next day, Elaine will call her closest friend, or perhaps two of them, and they will talk about the situation for 6 straight hours in painstaking detail. They will analyze everything she said and everything he said, going over it time and time again, exploring every word, expression, and gesture for nuances of meaning, considering every possible ramification. They will continue to discuss this subject on and off for weeks, maybe months, never reaching any definite conclusions, but never getting bored with it either. Meanwhile, Roger, while playing racquetball one day with a mutual friend of his and Elaine, will pause just before serving, frown, and say, "Norm, did Elaine ever own a horse?" So our imagination can take us in all kinds of places, and very often it causes us a lot of problems. The Buddha said the cause of all of our suffering is our thinking. It is our thinking that often gets us into trouble. And so we often imagine something and then we make it real when maybe it isn't real. And it takes us to places that we didn't know that we wanted to go. So there was that Temptation song. Remember the Temptation song? Imagination. It was just my imagination running away with me. You know, because that's what happens sometimes. Our imagination just runs away with us, and we have a situation like Elaine and Roger. So Charles Fillmore defines imagination in the Revealing Word as the faculty of mind that images and forms, the property to shape and form thought. The imaging faculty presides at the nerve center between the eyes, and through this faculty, the formless takes form. So the formless takes form. So we have this idea, we have this imagination, and then we can make it take form. So the disciple that represents imagination is Bartholomew, who's also called Nathaniel. And the reason that he represents imagination was before he became a disciple, one of the other disciples said, "Come, I'm going to hear this man from Nazareth talk. They say he's just amazing." And Bartholomew says, "Nazareth? Nothing good ever comes out of Nazareth. You know, how can this guy be any good?" And the disciple says, "He's wonderful." And Bartholomew, still judging the fact that anyone from Nazareth could not be any good, decides to go anyway. And so he sees Jesus, and he's talking to Jesus, and he seems very impressed by Jesus. And then Jesus says something to him that Bartholomew did not know that anyone knew. And he realized then that Jesus really was this special being. And so Jesus gives Bartholomew the gift of imagination, spiritual imagination. So we have this gift, and how we use it is up to us. You know, so often, especially in today's world, it is so easy to get frustrated because things seem to not be right. And we want to make them right. And we don't know what we can do. And so it's easy to just give up and say, well, there's nothing I can do. But there's always something that we can do. I was sharing with some people before, my granddaughter, who is 19 and lives in a little town in Ohio outside of Columbus, decided that she wanted to organize a protest because of what had happened to this poor man. And so she got on Facebook and she organized this protest, and they had 500 people. And it was all because she believed she had this idea, she imagined something, and then she put it into action. It's really important that we do that, because if we imagine something and we don't take the action, looking at it from a realistic point of view, then nothing is going to change in this world. So we were talking about this earlier. So when I was young, I had this great imagination. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a ballerina. And then I took 2 lessons and I gave up. And then I wanted to play the clarinet. That lasted 1 time. Then I was going to do the piano. That didn't even take 1 lesson for me, give up on that. Then it was drama. Then it was tap dance. And because I wanted to I thought, people make it look so easy. When you look at a professional person do something, it looks so easy. So in my imagination, all I had to do was just take 1 or 2 lessons, and I was going to be like all these people that I saw. I didn't realize that it took a lot of work and it took a lot of practice for them to get where they are. You see, when we have an idea, we have to act on it so that that idea can become a reality. So during the Valdez, when the Exxon had the Valdez oil spill, it was terrible. There were all those pictures of the animals coated in oil, and there was a hairdresser in Alabama, and he saw these animals' coats, and he was amazed how their coats could pick up and hold so much oil. And he got the idea that if their hair could do that, human hair could do that too. And so he created an invention with human hair to pick up oil in the case of an oil spill, because the human hair absorbed it so well. So here was a problem, this oil spill, and here was this normal man who just had this aha moment and took that aha moment and did something with it and created a patent that was able to help people. We have to remember that we can change things in this world, but we have to first look at it through good eyes. We have to be able to see things rightly, and sometimes we have to look at it again. So there's the story of the man who was blind, and he asked Jesus to heal him of his blindness. So Jesus took some dirt and he put it on the man's eyes, and then he took it off so the man could see. And the man said, "I just see 2 trees." And Jesus said, "Look again." And when the man looked again, what he saw was 2 people. So often we have to look again at things that we see are a problem, because when we look again and we use our imagination, we can create change. James Baldwin said, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." So we have to look at things closely. When you're learning to drive, they tell you to look to the left, look to the right, look to the left. Even when you're young and you're crossing a street, you have to look at things sometimes more than once to be able to see things as they are. And so in order for us to use this power of imagination, we also have to be able to open our eyes and look at things as they are. If we don't look at things as they are in the world, we cannot change them. And so it is important not to bury our head in the sand and say, well, there's nothing that I can do. Also, to use our imagination, we have to look at our judgments. So often we judge people based on, we don't even realize we're doing it. We see someone and we make a judgment on them based on the way they look. And we have to look deep within ourselves and be honest with ourselves and look within to really see the truth. because we are not going to change, nor are we going to be able to change the world until we look within honestly. And when we do that, then we can begin to change that thinking. So we have to look carefully. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to not live in a dream world. You know, imagination doesn't mean a dream world. It means looking at something and then creating something. You know, in Disney, Walt Disney was one of the most creative people. And in Disney World and in the Disney organization, they have a group of people called Imagineers. And what they do is they imagine all the things that are possible for Disney. Everything you see at Disney World and Disneyland came from these people having these thoughts, having this imagination, and then going about and creating it. You know, a perfect example is the car. Henry Ford had an idea, and he built this automobile. And not only did he build the automobile, but he built an assembly line to produce that automobile. That came first from a thought, but he had to use that thought and create it in person. So we have to remember that this gift of imagination can be used in positive ways to change the world, but it can also be used in negative ways. And so we have to really look at it within ourselves. J.K. Rowling said, "We do not need magic to change the world. We carry all the power we need inside ourselves already. We have the power to imagine better." So when everything is going on in our world today, it is time to us imagine things better. Because folks, if we don't imagine this world a better world, one in where everybody gets the same opportunities, one in where people don't have to be afraid being stopped by a police officer that it's going to mean the end of their life, one in which people can stand up for what they believe in. If we imagine this, we can change this world because we can see the possibilities that can only come from deep within our imagination. And when we take those thoughts and that imagination and we ask ourselves, what can I do to help create this world that I imagine? Then we can change the world. We all can change the world, one person at a time. It takes all of us who can see the injustices in this world and the problems in this world and imagine a better world. It takes all of us to be looking for the solutions. And so close your eyes for a moment and take a few deep breaths. And in your mind, begin to imagine a world filled with love, equality, justice, compassion, understanding. A world where people do not have to live in fear because of the color of their skin, their religion, or anything else like that. Imagine a world where we truly are one human family, brothers and sisters. That world can never be unless we first imagine it and then ask ourselves, what can I do to make a difference? Maybe it's something small. Maybe it's letting go of a judgment or a prejudice that you've been holding on to. Maybe it's reaching out to some local organization, taking part in some march, or donating some money, or electing officials who really care about finding an answer to our problems and our challenges. Whatever it is, the solution begins with us. We have been given the power of imagination. And that power, combined with faith and love and understanding, can truly make a difference. And so we say thank you, God, for the power of imagination and for the ability to use it well, to use it wisely, and to use it as a vehicle for change. And so it is. Amen. Here at Unity, we have 5 basic principles that we believe in, and we like to go over them each week. And just to remind ourselves, and if you're new, to let you know a little bit about what unity is. The first one is God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. And 2 is I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. And 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know I make a difference. And one way we make a difference is through giving and receiving, and we appreciate any of the gifts that you give us. There are many ways that you can give these gifts. You can go on our website, unityoforangecounty.org/donate, and give there. You can text it through the 77977 number and put Unity of OC Give. You can download our app from the App Store and give directly on that, or you can send in a check. Our address can be found on our website. So we appreciate those gifts because it helps us to be here for you, and hopefully the time will come when we will all be able to be back together again. And so we always like to close with our prayer for protection, and you can say this to yourselves in your homes. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you. God bless, and have a wonderful week.